What's up, everybody? Citizen Kimberly here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing good today. And today we're going to be discussing Society, directed by Brian Yuzna and written by Rick Fry and Woody Keith. Oh, and special effects by Screaming Mad George. I can't not talk about this film and not mention the person who created the marvelous special effects that are featured. As the story starts off, we're on the scene of a sprawling Beverly Hills estate, and we're introduced to our main character, Bill, aka Billy. And he is frightened out of his mind. You can hear his heartbeat. You can see the beads of sweat on his brow. And he's so frightened that he makes his way to the kitchen and he pulls out a knife from one of the drawers. And from up above, he can hear noises, primordial, X-rated noises, coming from his parents' bedroom. And for a second, it's as though he can hear his sister. And as he's so frightened, he crouches down next to the front door and looks up. And his mother descends from the stairwell. And she's like, "Billy?" The following day, Bill is making a visit to his psychiatrist's office. And he is shaking in his boots. He's freaking out. He's like, "Look, man, my whole life is a nightmare. I keep having these dreams. I don't know what's going on with my family. I don't even look like them." And the psychiatrist is like, "This is all normal. Everything's going to be okay. You're fine." And he's like, "I don't know. I feel like I'm scratching the surface of something big. And if I get there, I feel like something is going to happen." And he takes a bite of this apple that's in his psychiatrist's office. And all of a sudden he sees worms. And he's like, "What?" And then they go away, and he's like, "Well, I'm fine." The next day, Billy's playing basketball outside of the mansion, and in the background, you can see the Bentley and the Jeep Renegade over to the side, and he sees a van pull up, and he's like, "Blanchard." So he calls to his sister, Jenny, and he says, "Jenny, Blanchard's outside." And Jenny's like, "Oh, Bill, you know I can't see him right now." Jenny is Bill's sister, and she's upstairs getting ready for her debutante cotillion. So as she's getting ready, she realizes that she can't find her earring. So she's looking for it. She turns around and she looks on the ground, and there it is. And as she looks upwards, she can see Blanchard hiding in the closet. And so from the outside, Bill hears this terrible scream. So he rushes to see what the deal is, and he catches Blanchard with his hand over his sister's mouth. And there's a scuffle, and he ushers him outside. But Bill has it all together. He's running for student body president. He's dating the head cheerleader, Shauna, Shauna is just the character that she's like the reoccurring character in every movie who's like the thirsty girlfriend. She's just ready to be seen by society, and she is a social climber. Anyway, she introduces him, and he's getting ready to give his speech to the entire student body in this auditorium setting, and he catches a glimpse of this girl. This girl apparently has him starstruck because he is just like, wow, you know, it's like zoom in, zone out. It's all about this girl. And she's giving him some Sharon Stone action. And he can't even concentrate on what he's trying to say to the student body. And of course, his girlfriend's in the audience, and she is completely, you know, she's livid. She slams her book down to distract him. But he winds up recovering, and as he looks out again into the audience, the girl, Clarissa, is gone, and she's sitting with all of the rich, cool kids, and they've disappeared, so he's kind of shot, like his dreams are shot. That same day, Billy bounces into his psychiatrist's office, and he's like, "I totally nailed it." And the psychiatrist is like, "That's awesome, but, you know, let's have a serious talk, and I want to know how you feel about your family." Billy's like, my family is good. I don't bother them. They don't bother me. Everything's good except for the occasional psychosis and a little bit of, the old incest thoughts and things that I've been thinking. And the psychiatrist is like, I know you're being facetious right now, but I really want to know. And Billy breaks down and he says, they don't like me. They don't like my friends, and I don't know, what's happening. And the psychiatrist is like, it's normal for teenagers to feel alienated. It's completely normal for all of these sort of issues to happen and arise. Billy's like, but I really don't get it. I think I'm adopted. And the psychiatrist is like, I think you really believe that, but it's going to be okay, Billy. I think you really deserve what's going to happen to you. And Billy's like, what's going to happen? And the psychiatrist is like, you're really going to make a huge contribution to society. Billy's like, what? So here's where I'm going to stop my plot analysis and I'm going to go straight into my thoughts. Okay, so Society was completed in 1989 and it was released in Britain in 1989 and it did really well there. But in 1992, it was released in the States and it didn't do too well here. And the director of the film cited that it was probably because of cultural differences, that the British are probably more willing to accept ideas that are in movies that are out of the box. And when I tell you that this movie is completely out of the box, it's true. This is one of the weirdest, grossest, most excellent movies that I've seen in a while, and not only because of the special effects, which again are done by Screen Mad George, but just the idea that was put into the concept of the movie itself. Society, if whatever category that you want to break it down to, whether it be rich versus poor, whether it be ideas like races, black versus white, or just basic societal constructs that are introduced within many individual societies itself, as in black society, white society, Catholic society. There's all these different little constructs that are within the collective. For instance, family dynamics. As we take Billy for the example, he doesn't fit into his family society, and I completely understand this character, even though I'm going to remove the wealthy part. But it's like, what would make someone think that they care about them, even though both sides are aware that you just don't see eye to eye, you don't get along, you don't connect. It's almost like there's no feeling there. But then, somebody in your family says, oh, I love you. And you're like, yeah, but you think to yourself, why do you love me? And, it's kind of taboo to ask that question, because that'll throw someone off, because really, they don't even know why they love you. They have no idea. I feel like in society, people, especially within family confines, they say things like, oh, I love you. And you're like, yeah. And inside, you're like, you don't love me. You don't even know me. You don't even like me. We have nothing in common, but you love me. And probably on the other side, they're like, I love you because you're my daughter. But that's not a good reason to love someone, especially if you don't even know how to show the person that you're directing the I love you statement to. I remember being forced to go to cotillion, and I really hated it because I was like, I don't even see the point. What's the point of going to a cotillion when you really don't care about this particular area of society? And the funny thing about that is I wound up doing it because in essence it's like, happy family, happy life. At the time, that's how it was. And years later, at my father's funeral, a lady came up to me and she says, carry on your father's business, carry on in your father's name. And I thought, this is probably one of the same people that I got introduced to in Cotillion. And the whole point of getting introduced in Cotillion is so that people won't look at you sideways when you're out in public with a group of people. But even though I was introduced in Cotillion, when I was out in society and I saw some of these same people, they still looked at me sideways. So years later at my father's funeral, they're like, oh, carry on your father's business in your father's name. And I'm like, I didn't want to do that. And the funny thing is, to this day, I still feel like a bit of a heel because I didn't do that, because this particular area of society told me that's what I should do. And so the idea of this film tying it all in is, you look at a group of people and you know that you're supposed to fit in there and you don't. Really, it's them, it's not you. They're aliens. So I think that's probably one of the points that this film is trying to make. I think that, if you give this film a shot and just get to the end of it, the last 30 minutes are just wow. And, there are a couple of things that are in the film that don't make any sense. Like, I don't understand what Clarissa's mother, I don't know what that whole deal was, but that's probably the only part where I was like, But other than that, it's black humor, it's satire, it's gore, it's Pretty in Pink meets Aliens, meets The Thing, meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a really good film. So if you're into a hodgepodge of those films, like a big old mashup, then give this film a shot. And the next time you're feeling out of place in society or your role or whatever is going on in your life, remember it's them. It's not you. They're probably aliens and they just want to suck the life out of you. As a side note, this movie, after I finished watching it, I was thinking about that song by Radiohead, We Suck Your Blood. And I was like, yes, I bet they watched this movie. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't ramble too long. If you're into genres as such, give this film a watch. You'll definitely enjoy it. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a like on this video and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, comment, share, do all that good stuff. And as I always say, if you're into it, watch it.